Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy, the FOOTI to the big E here once again with another video. This week, 205 Live started on the WWE Network, so I just wanted to give my quick view and thoughts on the first premiere show of 205 Live, and where I think they could improve, things that I liked and things that I really didn't like about 205 Live. First off the bat, I want to say is there wasn't many things that I didn't like about 205 Live, apart from there was this one main point about 205 Live that really did kind of spoil it for me, and that was the fans themselves in attendance at the arena. Recently, I went to SmackDown Live, as you lot might have seen, and saw the video to that, and when you've been sitting at a show for 3 hours, it does go a bit flat, you know. You've seen it at WrestleMania as well. When the night starts, the crowd are pumped, and the further on the night goes, the more and more drained the crowd get with all the emotions, the higher lows of everything that goes on in a wrestling event. But the one thing that really annoyed me about 205 Live most was, apart from obviously Cedric Alexander getting a really big pop when he was announced, when they brought the 16 out at the beginning and introduced him to the crowd were not into it, and I feel this is not going to help 205 Live. I felt this was the problem when the Cruiserweights were on Raw. This was the main problem I had, and it now seems to have spilled over to 205 Live, because they've put it at the end of SmackDown. You've already seen 2 hours of SmackDown, and now they've put the Cruiserweights at the end of SmackDown. The same on Raw. They've pretty much put the Cruiserweights on the 3rd hour of Raw, when by that time the crowd are kind of going a bit off. They're starting to get a bit of a sore bum, and they're starting to thinking, when can I go home, you know? So my thoughts on 205 Live is maybe it should be on before SmackDown. I know it's 205 Live and it's live on the network, but maybe like in the UK, it's pre-recorded over here, but it's still put on Sky at 1 o'clock in the morning as live when you do Raw or SmackDown. And they could probably do the same with 205 Live, because at the beginning of the night, the crowd are into it and whatnot. And I think this would really help 205. It just was really bad when they were cutting to the crowd, and you could just see they just weren't invested in it. They didn't care. And none of the 3 matches that were on the show were actually really bad. The Bollywood Boys gave a really good account of themselves. I wasn't impressed with them during the Cruiserweight Classics, but I really appreciated their tag team match with Tony Nese and Gulak on the 205 show this week. I thought they showed a lot of themselves. You could tell, obviously, who their inspirations were, Heart Foundation and people like that. You could see that in the way they wrestled, and I thought they came over a lot better than they did when they were wrestling as singles in the Cruiserweight Classics. Then next up you had Jack Gallagher from Manchester, England versus Daivari. Now, Jack Gallagher really entertains me. I quite like Jack Gallagher. It's not just because he's a UK wrestler, but just the little things that he does when he puts you in locks and he waves at you and all that, like, and the politeness, and even in the Cruiserweight Classics where he's been put in holes, he was like, oh no. I mean, things like that were really comical and funny, and they made you laugh. And Jack Gallagher does give you really good matches. But again, the crowd just weren't invested in it. They just didn't see to have a, you know, and it wasn't the wrestlers. The wrestlers are not having bad matches, and this is what I don't want. I don't want the lack of crowd enthusiasm to really destroy 205 Live. It wasn't like the Cruiserweight Classics. It is more storyline based, and they're building towards storylines for stuff, and it's going to spill over onto Raw on a Monday night as well, you know. And the first 2 matches in the first hour segment were solid matches. There was nothing wrong with it. Then the last half an hour, you had Rick Swann taking on Brian Kendricks for the Cruiserweight title. Again, a really decent match. Given a proper time, give them a good 20 to 22 minutes to do their thing. And Rick Swann and Brian Kendricks really delivered for you. Obviously, Rick Swann is your new Cruiserweight champion, which was done just a way to boost 205 Live on its premiering night. And I really understand it. Rick Swann is not a bad wrestler. He's a decent wrestler. But these are the things for me that I think are going to spoil it. Somehow they've got to work out how they're going to do this crowd. Personally, for me, I'll be honest, if you're going to keep it live on the WWE Network, I would have to say take it back to Full Sail University in Florida. They were ravaged hardcore fans. This is the problem. I don't really want to say that the people go to SmackDown and Raw aren't hardcore wrestling fans, because there probably is a majority that are, but there's a lot of casual fans as well that ain't going to be invested in it. I said this in my 205 video when it first got announced, is the Cruiserweight Classics is watched by the hardcore fans, you know, same as NXT. There's a lot of people who are casual wrestling fans that go to Raw and SmackDown and watch Raw and SmackDown who actually don't watch NXT. A couple of my mates are the same. Obviously, when you're on the WWE network, or if you're on something watching it through Xbox, you can see what your friends are doing. And like, there's a kind of pattern where some of my friends will only watch on a Monday night after a big pay-per-view, so you know they're just watching the pay-per-view. And then you got other people like myself and a couple of my other mates that you see on the network a lot more, and you know they're a lot more kind of harder core wrestling fans who watch everything. Like, I watch Storytime, I watch Cruiserweights, I watch old WCW, I watch old ECW, I watch pretty much whatever's on the network. I watch pretty much most of it, and that's what I call the hardcore fans. And this is the fans that 205 Live should be being aimed for, you know. And that, I don't want to dampen the Cruiserweights, because the Cruiserweights put on a great Cruiserweight Classics. Their matches on Raw haven't been as great in the Cruiserweight Classics, but I expect 205 Live to really bring the Cruiserweights out again. You know, Triple H is doing the production on it, and Triple H will treat it like his baby. You know, he done a really great job with Cruiserweight Classics, and I believe he will do with 205 Live. I just feel that if anything's going to hamper 205 Live after the first show, it is the crowd. The crowd are just not invested on it in the first hour. If you're going to do it with a live crowd and you're going to record it at SmackDown, maybe pre-record it and just put it out there as live on the network, even if it's not, you know, you can do that. But that's my only problem. If you're going to keep it live straight after SmackDown, I would say go back to maybe Full Sail, where it's a more kind of like the old ECW crowd, ravaged hardcore wrestling fans, you know, and that's what NXT's got as well. So they were really my only gripes about 205 Live. Apart from the rest of the show, I really liked it. The only other downside of 205 Live for me was Austin Aries. I like Austin Aries, but after about 45 minutes of listening to him talk about himself, I'd had enough and I didn't want to hear Austin Aries anymore. So that was just my thoughts and review on the first 205 Live. I'd love you guys, if you watch 205 Live, to drop your comments below. Let me know what you guys thought of 205 Live. What did you think of the premiering show? I really enjoyed it. It was just, the fact is, the crowd kind of, you know, because when you watch something, you want the crowd amped up. It makes you enjoy the matches you want, and the wrestlers feed off that, and they're just not doing that. They wasn't doing that at 205 Live this week. It might get better as it goes on. Maybe it was just the crowd. I really don't know. But I do find that wrestling fans, the longer the night goes on, do kind of get drained. I mean, I do it if I go to, I remember this year I went to a European tour, 2 nights in 3 days at 2 different venues for 2 different sizes of the roster. And the second night I really didn't enjoy, but the first night I really, really did, because I just felt so drained by it. And I can see how you could do that. You know, you see it at WrestleMania, the crowd get drained over the course of the night. So maybe 205 Live going on after SmackDown is not the best way to do it. But apart from that, that is my only gripes about 205 Live. So this is your boy, FOOTI to the big E. I didn't really want to talk this long. It's coming up to nearly 10 minutes now. I wanted to do this one quickly, but they are my gripes and my view on the first 205 Live. And yeah, remember to like, share, subscribe. If you've never seen my wrestling content before and this is the first time, I'm always back with wrestling content, so hit that subscribe button if you like the video. If you made it all the way to the end, smash that thumbs up button and let me know that you liked it. And as I said, drop your comments below. Let me know what you thought about 205 Live, and I'll see you all soon on the flip side. Bless, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.